The elevator doors slid shut with a metallic sigh, and for the first time in months, Aaron realized his pulse was racing for a reason he didn't fully understand. He stood there, trapped between the polished steel walls and the weight of a moment he never expected. Beside him, Claire, his boss, his mentor, and the strongest woman he knew, looked nothing like the steady, unshakable person who guided their entire office. Her hands trembled, her breathing was uneven, her eyes shimmered with a truth she had held inside too long. And then, in a voice that cracked before it even formed, she whispered the words that sliced the room open. "I can't hold it in anymore. I'm coming out." Before her confession could shatter the quiet, he turned to her with a steadiness he didn't feel and replied, "This will be our little secret." In that instant, the world froze. The elevator's dim lights seemed to spotlight her fear, her exhaustion, and the invisible battle she carried. And Aaron, who had never been the hero in anyone's story, felt something shift inside him. He realized some confessions were heavier than they sounded, and some secrets weren't meant to be hidden. They were meant to be protected until the person was strong enough to let them breathe. If you're watching this and you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts that need to hear them. The story truly began months earlier, in a mid-sized corporate building in Denver, Colorado, where stress collected like dust in unused corners. Aaron had been the new marketing assistant, quiet, observant, and still trying to find his place in a world where everyone seemed louder, faster, and sharper than him. Claire, on the other hand, was everything he wished he could be, a confident woman in her early 40s, poised, intelligent, and known for walking into any room with the kind of authority that made people straighten their posture. But behind her composed smile, Aaron sometimes sensed something else, a flicker of tiredness, maybe even loneliness. At first, he assumed it was just the weight of leadership. Anyone managing a team of 40 people would look exhausted sometimes, but over time he noticed the subtle signs others missed. The way she paused before company meetings, almost like she needed to rehearse who she was supposed to be. The way she froze when someone made a careless comment about people who were different. The way her eyes sometimes softened, then hardened again, like she was protecting something fragile inside her. One rainy October morning, Aaron had arrived early to review a proposal. When he stepped onto their floor, he found Claire sitting alone in the conference room with her head in her hands. She didn't notice him at first, and he knew he should turn around and leave, pretend he never saw anything, but something made him knock gently on the doorframe. She quickly straightened up, wiped her eyes, and flashed that practiced smile. A smile that looked more like a bandage than reassurance. She assured him she was fine, just tired, just overworked, just overwhelmed with deadlines. But Aaron saw the truth hiding behind the excuses. She wasn't tired. She was breaking. As weeks passed, little cracks in Claire's calm exterior began to widen. She returned from lunch breaks with red eyes. She lingered longer in empty hallways. She worked long after everyone left, though most of that time she spent staring blankly at her computer screen. Aaron never asked why. He felt it wasn't his place. But he made small efforts. He brought her coffee in the mornings, always leaving a sticky note with an encouraging message. He volunteered for tasks others avoided. He made sure she never felt alone in an office full of people too busy to notice their leader unraveling. One Friday evening, when the office was nearly empty, a thunderstorm rolled over the city. Aaron stayed behind to finish some paperwork, and Claire stepped into his cubicle to check on him. Her hair was slightly frizzy from the humidity, her mascara faintly smudged, and for the first time she looked her age, not because she was older, but because she was human. She thanked him for staying late, for always helping without being asked. Aaron smiled, but he didn't say anything, afraid that anything too sincere might make her break down right there. She left with a small nod, but not before giving him a look he didn't quite understand, a look of someone carrying a secret that wanted so badly to be told. The moment everything changed came 2 weeks later. The elevator malfunctioned, just as Aaron and Claire were heading out for the evening. The lights flickered, the car jolted, and then everything stopped. They pressed the emergency button, but the operator said it would be at least 15 minutes before they could get the elevator running again. 15 minutes, just the two of them, nowhere to hide. At first Claire tried to laugh it off, but the sound was thin and nervous. Her breathing became uneven, her eyes wandering to the sealed doors as though the walls were closing in. Aaron gently asked if she was okay, and she tried to answer, but her voice cracked. She covered her mouth, and then she shook her head with a silent plea. That's when it happened. Without warning, the facade she had built so carefully collapsed. Her shoulders dropped, her knees weakened, and the truth, the heavy truth she had carried for years, finally forced itself free. She confessed she was tired of hiding, tired of pretending, tired of living two lives. She admitted she had been carrying a secret about who she truly was, terrified her family wouldn't accept her, terrified her colleagues would judge her, terrified her entire world would shift if she stopped pretending to be the version of herself everyone expected. She said she couldn't hold it in anymore. She was coming out, not to the world yet, but to him. Aaron's heart ached hearing the pain in her voice, the vulnerability of a woman who had given strength to everyone but herself. He told her gently that her truth was safe with him, that he wouldn't let her stand alone, that this moment, her moment, would remain their little secret until she was ready. The elevator hummed back to life moments later, but something more important had already shifted. Claire stepped out not as a woman hiding from her truth, but as someone who had finally allowed herself to breathe in the days that followed. Claire was quieter, but lighter. She started opening up to Aaron in small ways, telling him about the childhood she spent suppressing parts of herself, the expectations her family had placed on her, and the fear that kept her silent for so long. She admitted she wasn't ready to come out publicly yet, not even to her closest relatives, but she also admitted that saying it once, saying it to someone who didn't judge her, made her feel like a locked door had finally cracked open. Aaron became her confidant, not because he asked for the role, but because she trusted him more than anyone else. They had lunch together more often. They worked late side by side, sharing quiet conversations about identity, courage, and the fear of disappointing others. Aaron admired her strength even when she felt weak, and Claire, for the first time in years, allowed herself to rely on someone else. One night, after a particularly emotional conversation about her family's expectations, Claire told Aaron something he would never forget. She said she wished she had allowed herself to be honest earlier because pretending had cost her years of peace. But she also said that meeting him, someone younger, kinder, and free of judgment, gave her the courage she had never found before. She said he reminded her that humanity still had empathy left, that not everyone would turn away from her truth. Journals replaced sleepless nights. Soft smiles replaced trembling breaths. And slowly, piece by piece, Claire rebuilt herself. But the turning point came at the company's holiday gathering. Surrounded by colleagues and laughter, Claire stood next to Aaron with a nervous tremor in her hand. She leaned toward him and whispered that she was finally ready to start living truthfully, not publicly yet, but with the people who mattered. That night, after years of secrecy, she told her closest friend at work. The woman hugged her tightly. Claire cried. Aaron stood nearby, watching her reclaim the parts of herself she had buried. From that night forward, Claire changed, not drastically, not suddenly, but meaningfully. She wore brighter colors. She laughed more easily. She walked with a softness instead of tension. And sometimes, when she'd pass Aaron's desk, she'd smile a grateful smile, a smile that held the story of a confession that freed her. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear something hopeful today. Your support truly means more than you think. Before the story ends, here is a special request. Please comment below what part of the story moved you the most. Claire eventually came out to her family. It wasn't perfect. Some relatives needed time, some struggled. But she stood firm, supported by Aaron, by her real friends, and by the version of herself she had finally allowed to live. She discovered that truth doesn't always break things, sometimes it rebuilds them. And Aaron? He didn't just help her keep a secret, he helped her find the courage to turn that secret into strength. Their lives moved on, but that elevator moment, the moment she whispered her truth and he promised it would be safe, remained the turning point that changed both of them forever.